Bordeaux.
Here. Is that loud enough?
Not everybody else.
The notice requirements of Chapter 231 Public Law 1975 have been satisfied by the publication of said notice and the Aspark Press and the Coaster, and by filing a copy with municipal clerk. Also, we followed the change of venue within the 48-hour period necessary to move it to our present location. We figured this would offer more ability to social distance rather than council chamber before, so that was kind of the decision we did. But I'm glad we could get it here. So if you could guys join me in a flag salute, and you guys may stand for a moment, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So our first order of business, guys, is to approve the minutes from the May 22nd, June 8th, and June 22nd meetings.
All of that.
Offered by Mr. Calhoun,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Thomas. Roll call, please.
All in favor?
Oh, it was, you did, okay, so all,
Aye.
okay, that works.
Any?
No, I don't think, we were all, everyone is meetings, no mention necessary. All right, no communication, but we do have a presentation tonight, all right? We have a our presenter here is going to present a presentation on veteran-friendly municipality. So the floor is yours, Pete.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, members of council, thank you for having me here today. I want to thank you for, this is the first time I've been to an actual council meeting in 6 months, so it's good to see people face to face, not Zoom. This is kind of exciting. So in my role as Vice President for Legislative Outreach for the New Jersey Veterans Chamber of Commerce, I travel around the state, try to get municipalities to adopt a veteran-friendly initiative. And 3 simple things, there's a bunch of things, but the big things that we ask for, one is that you make an effort of hiring 5% of the municipal workforce with veterans or service-disabled veterans. The second thing we ask for is that you, with respect to your RFPs that go out, that you give it to 5% of that work to your veteran and service-disabled veteran business owners. It's a process to become a veteran-owned business. You have to get a bunch of different qualifications, but once you get it, it's very difficult. You have it as proof that you are in fact in that capacity. And the last thing we ask, and one of the big things, is that you have veteran-only parking, so that if you're a veteran, you pull up, you have up to 3 signs throughout the municipality reserved for veteran-owned vehicles. So those are the 3 things we ask for. And one of the things I'd like to do is bring some awareness about what the members of our armed forces do, especially the Army Reserve and National Guard. One of the things that people may not understand is that when you get called to do national service, you go away for 6 months, you go away for a year, and you own a business, you walk away from that business. If you're a mom and pop shop, you close shop. If you own a landscaping company, for example, you're a mason, you're a lawyer, you have an individual business, you shut up your business, and you come back a year from now, it's gone. So the world continues moving forward. Realities are realities. You do a closing, you have to go find another attorney. If you have landscaping needs, you find another landscaper. So those are realities. You come back and you find your business destroyed. And this veteran-friendly initiative, Mr. Mayor, that you're helping out Chris, and I know you introduced originally, really helps us out. Helps out the veteran community get back on its feet, and brings a bit of parity. So we're not looking for a special handout. We're looking to bring us back where we were before we left. So that's the purpose of the veteran-friendly initiative. That's why it helps veterans. And I appreciate you taking the time to do this and getting on the agenda today. If you have any questions, I'm happy to field it.
Any questions? No, I don't think there's anybody here who would oppose the ideas of helping our veterans. So I thank you very much for coming here, and I'm glad we'll have the opportunity to do that because the veterans are very important to us here. Especially Neptune City, we've always been very appreciative of our veterans here. All of our ceremonies here, our memorial park. So anything we do to help, we're glad we can. So we thank you very much for your time coming out here tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, council members.
Oh, moving along, so I guess we have also under our presentation, we have our Board of Education report. I see we have our board president, Mr. Anthony Cicino is here. Mr. Cicino?
Yes, basically I want to let everybody know that we now have a new CSA. Mr. Dr. Raymond McCuddy is here. I brought introduce him to the people who are at the meeting and also the town council.
So I'm very excited about being appointed as CSA and principal of Neptune City. I look forward to meeting and working with all the stakeholders. And this is my 6th day today, and I've been meeting with teachers and staff and board members and council members and the mayor. And thank you all. I look forward to working with you and learning more about Neptune City. Thank you.
Thank you.
And one other issue, we've been approached by the Asbury Park Press about possibly following suit with like Monmouth University and some of the other schools in the state about possibly changing the name of Woodrow Wilson School, removing Woodrow Wilson. I want to speak to possibly get a questionnaire out there, and I want the people of the town to be involved and have their say whether or not they want it to be changed or what they would like. I had a suggestion possibly just calling it Neptune City School. And I spoke to you, I guess, Mr. Mayor, and maybe we'll get some kind of flyer, not a flyer, but a questionnaire and see if we can see what the town wants. It's their school, so I figured they should have to say. That's all I have.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Cino, and welcome, Dr. McCoggin. Appreciate you coming here. Unless there's anything else?
No, that's it.
We're good? Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
So, moving along, you guys, we're gonna move to start with our Borough Administrative Report. Mr. Trevine?
Thank you, Mayor. I want to move my mask down so I can speak a little bit. Good evening, everybody, and I welcome everybody back in person. This is awesome that we're back in person. I'm going to give you just a few updates. We're going to go quickly here. I know it's a summer night. Mayor, Council, we had some stuff going on in our parks. I know that it was on Facebook recently that everybody sees the first responder park is actually underway at this point in time. And we're in like a phase 2 right now. We're waiting on American Water. We've got irrigation that has to go in there, as well as the water actually has to be attached. So we're kind of waiting on that. I know we've been getting some complaints that, it seems like kind of weedy out there. This week our public works is going to go out there, till it up so the weeds are gone, and kind of get it back to where it was about 2 weeks ago. But this weather really hasn't helped us out. But we are moving forward with that. We are putting a committee together to work on the monuments aspect of it from all the organizations. The mayor is actually working on that now, and it's a work in progress. Memorial Park, the project there with the new playground and the new gazebo is actually moving forward tonight. It's in the consent agenda. We had already approved that we're going to do the work, but now we're going to be awarding it through a co-op. That meaning that somebody else did the bidding for us, kind of saved us the money on going out to bid on this stuff, and we're jumping on that co-op, so we save a little money without having to go to advertising and going through that process. So that's going to be a good thing. We're hoping for a fall completion on that. I'm pretty excited. We also, as everybody knows, we had help with beach days to put our the beach equipment, the mats out on there. They're completed. We actually added a few extra mats to make turns for wheelchairs, so there's full access to the beach for our ADA community. We want to be inclusive, and that's our biggest thing. And even with our new playground, it's going to be an inclusive playground. So I think it's going to be something really good for the community. I want to thank DPW. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but the circle there, they did a lot of cleaning. They did a lot of tree trimming. They worked hard. It was in this hot weather, and they got a lot done. It's just sometimes they like to get that recognition, and I do recognize all the work they've done. Councilwoman Pappas and myself have teamed up, and she asked me to go forward with reaching out to the county in reference to West Sylvania Avenue. Because we need some more crosswalks, especially by Brighton, with the kids going to school and whatnot. So we've actually working with the county to add the crosswalks. And while I was on the phone with the county, they've talked about possibly putting a shoulder/bike lane on the roadways. We're working on that. If it's possible, we're going to do it. It's going to slow the speed of the traffic down there, kind of help us a little bit. They're willing to do it. I have the police chief's blessing when he's working with me as well on it. It's going to be a little while to get the surveying done, but the county's willing to help us, and there's no cost to the borough. It's going to be on their dime. So hopefully we can get that stuff worked out by fall. Okay, so today actually on Friday, I would have had it tonight on our agenda, but we can wait till the August meeting. We do have a, open space grant that came out that covers our parks and our open space. It was left for me, I think, Mayor, you might have left it for me as well.
I did.
We are actively pursuing another grant for, one of our parks. I met with the Recreation Board about a month ago, to see where we can do some work. And we're looking at Adams Field. Adams Field being a park that's not being utilized to its fullest. It's a large piece of property, and I think that we can put a nice project together. So, I got the rec board's actually has signed some people for different aspects of it, and we're gonna come up with a plan, and we're gonna present it to the mayor and council as soon as the August meeting, so that we can apply for it. So I feel confident that we can get something out of that, and maybe get a little bit more use out of Adams. And finally, I want to put on record with the mayor, council, and the residents my appreciation for the hard work and dedication for all our employees. Through this difficult time, we are one of the first municipalities to open our doors to the public. I don't know if anybody realizes that, but a lot of towns are still not letting people in, and we are, okay? And that's because of the hard work and dedication of all our employees. They leave their families, they put their situations at home at risk by coming in every day during COVID. So I want everybody to understand that they're doing a lot. All our employees have stepped up and worked hard, and I for one, am very proud of the determination and strength they show each day. So just, if you can, understand that we're running through different things, and things are hard on them as well, and try to give them a break. But if you see somebody, one of our employees, our DPW employees, just, thank them for what they're doing. I mean, they're doing a lot for us, and they work hard every day, and I can't do it without them. My first 7 months here has been a whirlwind, and they really helped me, so thank you.
Thank you. All right, so move along to mayor and council reports. So under the mayor's report, I always like to kind of start off with doing kind of a briefing about how the city's faring during this pandemic here. At the county level, the numbers I received today are 10,185 positive cases in Monmouth County have been reported, with 72 cases here in Neptune City in total. Now that number tends to fluctuate very much in between. This is the highest, actually, I've seen it, 72. That's the biggest number, but it's in very well probably tomorrow could be dropped down. A lot of times what they do is they put the suspected cases in the positive case as well. When they come back as negative, they will then subtract the number. So a lot of times I've got people like, oh my God, that number's high. Yeah, it's high, it may not stay that. So it really is, it's not concrete, kind of hard to go up here. So those numbers do tend to fluctuate a little bit here. Kind of piggybacking off Mr. Trevini here, not only do I want to thank the employees, I also want to thank our first responders in town, and like our DPW as well, because really, they've done just a tremendous job during this whole thing. The town has run incredibly smooth, considering, the burden that's been put on everybody during this trying time here. When we talk about the police, the chief and his department have been extremely cooperative with the mayor, the council administrator, establishing new safety protocols for people in town, for the employees as well. So I commend you and thank you for the work that you guys have done. Our DPW has done a really wonderful job. We were able to keep most of our parks open during this time, maybe not the playground equipment, but we kept the parks open, and our DPW worked extremely hard to make sure they were always clean, that they were always sanitized. They go and now the playground equipment is open, they sanitize that every day. Every day they go and sanitize their playground equipment. They make sure the bathrooms at Memorial Park are clean. They clean, our beach has gotten, a good amount of use this summer. Sometimes people are not as conscious about picking up after themselves, which is something we're working on, but by the time Monday morning rolls around, you wouldn't know, because they already got there and cleaned it up, before. So they're really doing a great job. And our first aid, our fire department have continued to make their calls. There's been no stop in answering any of the calls from our residents here. That's really important, because, people don't think about that, that dark day when you might actually need those first responders, and they have been there. And so, not every town has been able to say that somebody did it. It really is a testament to our volunteers and our employees here. So I really cannot thank them enough for what they've done here. Also, just recently, I attended a press conference held by the Monmouth County Board of Freeholders to introduce their new initiative to do more testing for COVID-19 throughout the county. So basically, they're creating free testing centers throughout Monmouth County. To where you don't need to be symptomatic, you don't need to have insurance, you don't need a script, you can just go and get tested, at any point here. There are several around here. You have Neptune, Agri Park. Neptune would probably be the best for us here in Neptune City, be the closest. I wrote down here, so the facility Neptune, so they have two different dates that they're gonna be doing it. The first one's gonna be this Friday, the 31st. They're gonna be doing testing at 60 Neptune Boulevard, excuse me. If you're familiar with Neptune Boulevard, it's right across the street from the high school. It's where the Board of Education offices in their northern parking lot. They're gonna be doing free testing there from 9 a.m. till 1 p.m. So for 4 hours, they're gonna be free testing. And again, I reiterate, you don't need a script. You don't need to be symptomatic. If you want to be tested, you can go be tested. And they also have the oral swab. It's not just the nasal cavity, which looks awful. Right? It doesn't look very friendly. Apparently, it's not as bad as I've heard, but it doesn't look very. But they can do the oral swab there as well for those that don't want to do it. So they have that. So this Friday, the 31st, and then again, they're going to have another one on Thursday, August 6th. It will be running from 3 to 6, and that will be at the Midtown School, right? So if you guys are familiar with the Midtown School, if you're not, Midtown School is basically, it's Old Corley's, but it's Route 33. So it's where they basically, right before you get to Ocean Grove, right there, that big, huge school that to build there. And that parking lot, they're gonna be doing it as well. And then again, on Wednesday, August 12th, they're gonna be doing it from 9 to 1 again at Midtown School. So there's 3 opportunities just in Neptune alone. If you go to the Freeholder, the Monmouth County government page, there's a link for other areas as well. Like I said, Asbury Park is having as well. There's some in Long Branch. I believe Kingsburg is where they're holding.
I'll put it up on the website.
Yeah, we'll have that on the website too to make it a little bit easier. Mr. Beatty touched on some of the parks here. First Water Park, I was going to bring on, we can touch on here about the issues going on. Joe Frieda Park over there on 3rd and Steiner, you know, the new fencing went up around there, and also the new rubber matting was replaced as well. So that's operational for the kids again, and it looks really nice as well. We talked about Memorial Park. Memorial Park has got a lot of use this summer. There was an issue that was brought to me by a resident, and to be honest with you, I saw myself about parking. During the weekend, you had people parking on both sides of the roads of Riverview, and it was very difficult for people to get through. Really, it turned into a one-way road. And so I immediately reached out to the chief, and I reached out to Mr. Chimney and said, there's something we need to work on. And also to our attorney who helped us put together the executive order to put through. So we were able to put together an emergency executive order to limit parking to one side of the street on Saturdays and Sundays. And from what I heard, the residents said it's worked quite well. I don't know if I have any Riverview residents in town. Anybody here? No, I did receive a couple messages from people in town saying that it has worked very well. So I've actually been going down there every Saturday and Sunday now, just to kind of check, make sure it's going up. And the beach itself is not really all that crowded, but we do get a lot of people launching their kayaks off there. So we get a lot of kayakers going off. I guess it's one of the easier spots to get your kayak out. So it is getting a lot of use here. If anybody had seen Governor Murphy's mentioned our little Neptune City about 2 weeks ago, more with concern. He said, there's been overcrowding in places like, you mentioned Belmar, Long Branch, and Neptune City, to which that kind of threw me off. So I kind of made some big inquiries about that, like Neptune City. And so it turns out that they meant Neptune, which has happened before in different towns here. So I actually spoke to I was surprised he called me just to put my mind at ease. So I got a phone call. I don't usually answer a number I don't know. But then I got a text that said, it's Governor Murphy, you can answer. I kid you not. I was like, okay. So I called him in, so I answered that time, and he was like, Mayor, I apologize. He was like, yeah, we got confused between the two towns. You're doing a fine job. Don't worry about it. So there was no concerns about our beach and overcrowding. It had actually nothing to do with beaches. The town of Neptune at all was more one of their establishments, which they thought was in Neptune City, and is actually in Neptune. So I know there's a lot of concern about that, but there was really nothing really to that. Some of the events we've had going on in town here, because we're still trying to do things for our community, for our kids, for our families that are still kind of safe but fun at the same time. We had our first movie in the park. We were supposed to have one last Thursday, but with the weather, we had to postpone it. So our next one will be this upcoming Thursday. It's our Christmas in July celebration. So we're going to be screening Elf, and we're trying to get somebody dressed up as Santa Claus. I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll see what happens. We're giving out candy canes, and people will kind of keep their distance. We've had a couple other events going on here as well. They had yoga in the park is something that happens continually here, which I see a good number of people show up to do yoga in the park. The board rec put together candy bingo, which was well attended. Right, Mr. Adcock, that was very well attended, was not? Yes. I was unfortunately unable to go, but I saw pictures that was well attended. But again, family would sit with families, and everybody kind of kept their distance. So our residents really seem to be understanding this idea of like, I don't want to screw this up, so let's do the right thing, and I applaud that. We also had a family kickball game all right? We even have a special guest star there, and Patrolman Edwards, all right, who, of course, had to show off, put it on everybody's head for that. But we have a lot of things, we have other things coming up here as well. And as Dr. Pocani mentioned, myself and Councilman Thomas met with the new chief school administrator today, and I was very pleased with our conversation. We actually were there for about 2 hours, actually. We had about a 2-hour conversation with him, and it was really a productive conversation. We shared a lot of the same ideas about, the future of that school. And so, even though we were in a pandemic, business it keeps on rolling, right? And so we've gotten a lot done here, and I'm very proud of the work that we've done here. And again, I commend everybody up here for all the work that they did. All right, sorry to hijack the meeting. I promise we'll move on here to our council reports, and we'll begin with the administration and finance and Mr. Thomas.
You touched on a lot of things, thank you, Mayor. I just want to first say that looking forward to getting this initiative together with the veteran businesses, and thank you, sir, for your service, as well as all the other veterans. You mentioned the parks. I just want to thank the community center and the board of rec for partnering with us to be able to get that theater system so we can show movies, especially, things are so limited right now to what family activities we have, so the ability to be able to use that and do that for our residents has been really great. The first one was amazing. We're looking forward to this Thursday, especially the top favorite of mine with Elf playing. So just want to thank the community center for that, and the DPW as well for helping to set it up and make sure things run smoothly while they're going on. On another note, just to kind of keep everybody updated, I've gotten a couple emails about the senior freeze program. There's some worry about that by residents. So that's still up in the air until the state finalizes its budget sometime in September. I'm putting out a warning now. I don't know how much money the state is actually going to provide that for the senior freeze program. That is one of the things that's on the cutting block. But we've been in contact with our legislators, and we continue to take a push to make sure that NBC is not cut out. It's not something that falls off the wayside through the hatchet that Trump is going to take for their own budget too. So that's pretty much it. Thank you. I appreciate it, Mac.
One thing I forgot to mention is that, with the heavy rains we had a couple days ago, again, we noticed the flooding we have here at 35 and 3rd Avenue. I actually spoke with our legislative senator, Senator Gopal, and Mr. Thomas had drafted a letter for us that we sent as a town here to have the state again come look at that. Mr. Gopal told me he is going to push that for us. He said, I will make sure this gets to the right people in the Department of Transportation. So I did want to recognize and thank him for doing that for us. So at least somebody from the state at least acknowledges it's a problem. Let's see where it goes from here. So at least have that. Moving forward, we can go to Public Works and Mr. Sullivan.
Yes, sir. One Mayor, I'd like to apologize for being a few minutes late.
That's okay.
Something personal I had to take care of tonight. From a public works perspective, again, I think you, Mr. Trevini, have said many things. Number one, our public works is top notch, right? There's nobody better. One of the things they did do a repairs to the road sweeper, and the road sweeper went through the week of the 13th. They're going through again the week of this week. They also did some work in the Borough complex and the ball fields. They've also noticed an increase in the amount of bulk, brush, and other collections that have gone on over the last few months. Obviously, it's happening, but a lot of people are staying home and doing that kind of stuff. And if anybody hasn't noticed, if they're down in Memorial Park, they've done a number of things. Changed some of the landscaping in the monument area, basically cleaned it up. Some of the bushes were getting a little bit too big, some were dead, replanting some new roses, hostas, and all that, and they mulched the area. They also trimmed the trees on the park because they were a little hanging. So if you have the opportunity to go down to Memorial Park and really notice the job that the Public Works has done, right? They've done a really nice job with that, and they continue to be top notch. Mr. Trevini said, and you have said, that's all I have to do.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Sullivan. Move along, Lord Orders, Mr. Calhoun.
Fine, man. No report tonight. If you want to schedule a meeting for next week, I will send an email out to the committee members when they're available on Tuesday of next week, and if not, we can do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The only other thing, I'll just take the opportunity to also put my 2 cents in and say that I'm really happy with DPW. They were able to really do a nice job on the tracks. I mean, they look fantastic. I'm looking forward to a future expansion of that. It's been a really beneficial thing for the town, something somebody's been looking for, a lot of people have been looking for a long time. And then the only other thing, I'm as the liaison to Board of Rec, I'm real happy with the new foodie system that we got as well. I attended the first one. I thought it went really well. It was a beautiful night for it. Whether I cooperated since, but that's okay. The only thing we can do whatever we want. And I will advocate for that in the future weekend, just so you know.
With you got me.
That's all I got.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Calhoun. Moving along to Administration of Justice, Ms. Pappas.
No council report, but again, like everyone else, piggyback on what a great job our police department, our first responders, fire, EMS, our public works, and our borough. Everyone at the borough has worked feverishly. You guys have all done an amazing job, and it's true. And also us as council. I mean, we're a great team, and this little town is showing how we can all come together and prevail through this whole situation.
I agree, thank you very much, Pappas. I'll move on to Special Services, Ms. Renee.
Yes, hi everybody. I want to say thank you to all of our employees, especially our first responders and the DPW workers. And someone who doesn't get much credit is our borough administrator, Chris Trevini. And when everything was shut down, he was just, at the helm, taking care of everything, just much appreciated. And just as far as our dog licenses go, we had a delay because of COVID-19 as a lot of other things. And so as of right now, we have 206 dog licenses so far that have come in to Neptune City. We generally charge late fees after the rabies clinic, but because of COVID-19, we have delayed that. So as of right now, if you haven't got your dog license renewed, late fees will begin on August 1st. So you still have a few more days yet. Come on in, get your dog license. No late fee yet, but as of August 1st, late fees will start. And with our TNR program that we had initiated last year, it's meant for our whole town so that we can help get the feral cat situation under control. So if anybody's out there feeding the feral cats, talk to the borough administrator, talk to our borough clerk, come on in or give a call and see how you can be a colony caregiver so that you can help in a situation so that we have trap, neuter, and release. And what our program does is that the Monmouth County SPCA comes out, you say, okay, we have this feral cat that comes regularly every day around this time, and then they come and then they trap the cat or the kitten, and they bring it, they get spayed, neuter, rabies, and then they bring it back. And what it does is after about a 4-year period of time, we'll notice a decline in the feral cats. And what this is to help prevent the cats from being killed. So it's a no-kill policy. And so if anybody is out there feeding the cats, I just want to encourage you to become a colony caregiver. So please contact Borough Hall so that we can try to get our feral cat situation under control. Because that's what we did this for. We did it for our whole community so that we could help get a grip on this situation and be humane to the cats that are out there for our cat lovers. So thank you for doing that. Hopefully you will, because it's a pretty serious situation. And so far this year, because of the COVID-19 situation, it's been a little bit delayed, but we've, as of May, we've only had 2 cats and 6 kittens that have been trapped, neutered, and released. So we know there's a whole lot more feral cats out there. So please make those phone calls. And with the SPCA, Corinne Hen is our representative, so she's willing to come out and take care of the cats and the kittens that are called in on. So we encourage everybody to do that, and just thank you for your participation in that.
Thank you. Moving along here, Human Services, Mr. Kostas.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no negative report. And like everyone else, I'd like to thank all of our employees and our team, DPW. Everyone's doing a good job, and council on the too.
Thank you very much. All right, so before we move on to new business, we're going to open up to public participation on agenda items. If there's anybody in the audience that wants to be heard on agenda items, we'll have a separate public participation part. Yeah, but this is just on agenda items in particular. So we get Jen, we'll go to you next time. Jen?
Jen, I just want information on 109 and 110.
Sure. On resolution 109, so these are under our consent agendas, somebody understands. We're going to award a contract to Power DMS. It's a company that does documentation, storage, training for the police department. It is a very well-known company that actually helps the police department, that program helps the police department become accredited. And what's going on now is the accredited police departments actually, are the ones who are getting the, when things bad are happening, as long as they can show they're accredited and they're following the proper policies, They're much more protected under liability insurance and whatnot. So our chief had come to me earlier in the year when we were budgeting, and I made sure we put a budget together for that. As everybody knows, I was a police officer for 25 years, and I actually had that program for the last 15 years. So I was a little surprised when they didn't have it, and it's very cost effective for the community. It doesn't change anything. It's part of our budget, and I think it's going to be an excellent program for the chief to put out his policies, to track policies, and with everything coming out from the Attorney General's office, they're going to be able to do some training right through it, so it's going to really help us out. And the other one was 110. Okay, 110 is co-op pricing. So under state of New Jersey, we have a bid threshold of $17,500. Under the law, it's also considered an aggregate of that. So if you're buying from, like, for example, Home Depot, Staples, and for some reason you hit that aggregate of $17,500 over a course of a year, you're required to go to bid on it unless you're part of a co-op or a state contract. But by law, you should be making notice on that prior to this. So what we've done is we've actually put the businesses like Home Depot, Staples, or what things we use a lot of on it, just to make sure that we're actually staying within the law. So it kind of protects us. It's kind of a house cleaning kind of deal. It helps us with our audits. It makes it look like we're following the rules. We're actually just not willy-nilly hiring companies that aren't on these co-op or state bids. So this is just the council agreeing to it. It has a term. Going forward, my hope is that every January the council is going to see a similar resolution to cover that following year. We were just, and remiss in it, but it's not because of any other reason that not everybody knows that we should be doing that. But we want to try to get our stuff, our ducks in a row, and we're ready to do that now and make sure. And with COVID this year, you hit Home Depot pretty hard because of all the stuff we had to do and changes that it brought it to my attention. So we're going to be covered now for Home Depot and several other companies.
One related issue, is the police department accredited?
No, our police department's not accredited. It's a very long process. I've had conversations with the chief about it. Are we definitely going to do something like that in the future? I'm not sure, but this is our first step in the right direction. It allows the chief really to get a good handle on making sure every one of his men and women are getting these updated policies. And we already know what's going on nationally. These policies are going to be coming out. New Jersey is regulated heavily by the Attorney General. So when the Attorney General puts something out, all the chief has to do now is put it into the system, and it gets sent out via email that they have to go on and take a training or read that policy and sign it electronically. It tracks when they signed it, and then we all know our officers are up to date on our training.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, what else was we heard on agendas? Yes, sir, state your name, record, name, address for record, sorry.
Excuse me,
Could you state your name and address for record?
Gregory Defoe, 134 Summit Avenue, Neptune City. Back to the feral cat issue.
Well, this part is just for agenda items right now. This is not really anything pertaining to what's on the agenda. You do that during
Well,
public
where do I get the
participation.
agenda from?
They were with
This is
us.
just about
They're there. I
things
think
council's
we're-
gonna vote on.
Yeah.
There's a separate section.
You'll have a
we can
separate
talk
section to
about
ask
whatever you
questions
want.
about.
When do I get to speak?
So when we're done with our business here, we open it up to public participation. That's when the public can ask any questions, make any comments. Right now, it's just any questions, comments on the agenda only.
When is that?
As soon as we're done with our business, it shouldn't be very long.
5 minutes.
Yeah, it shouldn't be long at all. And then I'll make sure you go first. All right? I promise. Okay. If you're not back in time, we won't leave, I promise. All right, I promise we'll do it. All right. Do we have another question on the agenda? No? Oh, okay, I thought somebody. Mr. Westcott?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay. All right, so we're gonna move along, guys, to new business and resolution 20-105, establishing goals for, contracting and hiring and recognizing military veterans. If you don't mind, I'd actually like to read this in its entirety. It says, whereas the New Jersey Local Public Contract, New Jersey State Law 40A, 11-1, the LPC L permits counties and municipalities to establish by resolution qualified veteran-owned businesses, enterprises, and services connected to disabled veterans-owned business enterprise contracting programs known as Veterans Business Entities. And whereas the LPCL further authorizes municipalities to establish goals for the municipality and setting aside a certain percentage of dollar value of total procurement to be awarded as contract to BBEs. I'm not gonna do the whole thing over here, but just kind of give you guys the understanding here to basically give our veterans preferential treatment when it comes to, well, not preferential, at least make sure they have the opportunity to get, contracts for jobs throughout the borough here. And I thought, that's the least we can do for the service that they provide for us. So, I really, again, I thank you, Salute, for coming here, and I thank you, Mr. Reed, for bringing this to our attention. So, if that's, I need a motion. We got a motion from Mr. Thomas, second from Mr. Sullivan. Any questions? Roll call then.
Mr. Calhoun.
Yes.
Mr. Kosis. Ms. Pappas. Yes. Ms. Renee.
Yes, with great
Ms.
pleasure.
Mr. Sullivan.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Thank you very much. And again, thank you very much. Thank you for your service.
Council members.
All right, so move on, guys. So a little bit different here, to just kind of like tidy up our meetings here so they don't go over long. We created a consent agenda. So basically what our consent agenda is, all items listed are considered to be routine, non-controversial by the mayor and council, and will be approved by one motion as opposed to separately. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or members so requested, in which case the items will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. The one motion signifies an adoption of all resolutions, receive and file letters, correspondence, reports, and approval of applications and minutes. So, again, we received, the agenda, early on, had a chance to go through. I know some members had questions, they were able to reach out, ask the questions, to satisfy their concerns. This is really more about being a little bit more efficient as opposed to passing each resolution one at a time here. I realize it kind of was really kind of a, what's the word for it, kind of a waste of time. This is really the best way I can put it here. Wasn't really efficient at all here, right? So I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So,
Offered by Ms. Pappas,
Second.
second by Ms. Renee. All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Calhoun.
Yes.
Mr. Kosis.
Yes.
Ms. Pappas. Yes. Ms. Renee.
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Okay, consent agenda is approved. So we're now gonna open up the meeting to the public participation part. And we actually, I promised one of our residents, you'd be the first one to have the opportunity to speak. So we already have your name and your address for the record, so the floor is yours, sir.
I have a month of June, last month. Each day I have on the calendar how many times I picked up cat feces on my property. On 134 Summit Avenue. I live on the corner of Avondale and Summit. The people across the street feed them, and two houses next to that house, which I believe are 137 and 139, are no longer habitable because of the cat infestation and the extreme stench of cat urine as a result of the feral cats. I've talked to Mr. Turbini on several occasions about the situation. He has told me it's a process on several occasions. Right now, I'd like to ask you, Mr. Turbini, where are we in the process? How long until the process is completed? And what are the results of this process? And to you, Ms. Renee, the catch schooner release is great if it's your backyard, but it doesn't work in my backyard. I've been there 17 years. I pay over $8 grand a year in taxes. I don't have any children. They don't use the school system. Probably none of you guys recognize me because I like to fly under the radar. I don't make any trouble in town. I pay my taxes. I keep my property tidy and neat. Mr. Turbini, you see my property. All I ask is the township to please get rid of these cats and do something about those condemned properties. We're dragging down my property values and the houses around me because they're abandoned, they're overgrown with wild vines and trees. The smell is god awful. I can't walk my dog down the street because this thing's so bad. I'm 51 years old, and I got diagnosed with cancer last year. And I don't know how much longer I gotta live. But when the amount of time I'm gonna be here, I wanna be able to walk my dog down my street without, sometimes, I can't walk down, I get sick sometimes. The medication I take, the smell of the cat, it just overwhelms me. And this new release 4-year plan, where did they go away? I've been here 17 years, these cats have been there, and it gets worse and worse and worse. And I would like resolution to this. And this catch, neuter, release program, catch, neuter is fine, I don't want to release my neighborhood anymore. I'm sick of picking up cat feces. I can't walk on my lawn barefoot because I'm afraid to step in cat feces. I can't have my nieces and nephews over playing in my yard because of cat feces. It is absolutely disgusting. And I'm asking you, council, mayor, or administrator, please address this and address it quickly. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, 39 times last month I picked up cat feces.
Thank you.
That's just me counting. I don't know about my beautiful fiance over there.
And really terrible. Can you help us?
Mayor, want me to answer, just say something on this, so we understand?
Yeah, good.
Okay. So we have talked, and I'm glad you came in, you know, I spoke to you a couple times, I told you it was a process, and the process is moving pretty quickly right now. In a few days, there's gonna be a lot of action happening there. This is now up to law enforcement level of the prosecutor's office. So there's law enforcement officers from the Monmouth County SPCA who have been there regularly. And, the person who's responsible for these cats has been told, and we're being told that they are going to be trapping those cats and removing them from the area.
Removing them,
Yeah,
as in not returning them.
At this point, that's what we're being told, okay? I have not spoken to these officers directly. I will be there the next time they're going out so that I can get an understanding of exactly what the plan is. I do know that they're going to be trapping on the outside and the inside.
You can put 100 traps in my backyard. I
They-
told the SPCA, put as many as you want.
Right, so.
Get 'em outta here.
So I will tell you that they're going on the outside, they're going outside and inside now. Our code enforcement officer's been out there, there has been, fines assessed already, our police have been out there. So I'm telling you, it's happening, things are happening to make that better. I was there, I came out as soon as you called me.
I know you did, I appreciate
came
that.
out there, and I witnessed the situation myself, and, we will do what it takes to act on it. But again, the county has it right now, the law enforcement agency has it. We will be following along. My code enforcement officer, he keeps me regularly updated on it. It is definitely going to be going forward. And so, and as I said, you'll see us out there very shortly. We'll be out there again, and we're gonna continue to work on that problem, okay? I know it's a problem, I know it's a problem for many neighbors, and we've all witnessed it, and we'll be out there to help. Okay?
Okay, as far as the 2 condemned properties that are dragging down the value of my property
Okay.
and my neighbor's properties,
So-
what is the plan about those absolutely cat urine infested, disgusting properties?
It's not just that, they're dilapidated, the roofs are caving in, like, what can we do about, this is really has to stop.
So I have some experience with this, and it's a difficult situation. We need to fix the feral cat issue first, right? And then we can attack the other issues of home maintenance, right? And how they maintain it. We can there's certain requirements under our ordinance. I'm gonna have to sit with the borough attorney. I know there's state laws on this as well, that if it's not being taken care of, there are actions that the borough is gonna be able to handle. But again, we have to take care of the cats, get them out first before they make it worse. And the next step is property maintenance, which our code enforcement officer's been out there. And then we're gonna, I mean, it's gonna be going. Nothing happens overnight, but it definitely is happening. It's happening more than you think it is. I have emails back and forth. I have many people involved in this. It's a whole team of people doing it, from our people and from the county. So we're not, I did not forget about you. That day after that, I've been involved. I've been on every email chain, and I plan to be out there the next time they come. And our code enforcement officer, if you ask him to tell you that that I'm going to be there, because you don't get it every day.
Because, Mr. Jermaine, I have experience as a contractor. I did it in college. A neighbor's a contractor, a good friend of the contractor. The only way to address those homes is to tear them down. The wood in that house is infested with urine.
Right.
You cannot get rid of that smell.
Right.
Demolition is the only option.
Right.
So until that is done, we have a problem.
Yeah, we have several legal issues when it comes to that, and that's why everyone would have to go to the attorney. I've worked in a community development situation before in a different town, and it's not as easy as it sounds, right? That part's not gonna be the easy part. Getting rid of the cats is actually the easiest portion for us.
It was easy, why does it take 17 years?
Well, that I don't know.
If you don't mind, because
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump in for a second. So, and also to defend Mr. Day, the trap and release program that we got into last year.
Yes.
So we've only been incorporated at the city for a year, and we were told that this will take probably 5 to 6 years before you will see a significant drop off. But it's the most humane way to do it. I personally don't want to be responsible for trapping guys and killing. I'm sorry, I don't.
I never said kill, I said
but
remove.
at the same time, you know, the shelters just can't take on that many cats as well. So what they do is they try to limit their ability to procreate, and over time you see it dropping. Now these particular cats we were told are, you know, they're dangerous. They will be taken away. They try not to euthanize any cats at the Mon County SPCA if possible, and I believe they have like a 97% survival rate there. It's something that I know the chief Russell Citrus is very proud of. But we are working on it. This is something that Mr. Devine and I have spoken about. Really, I don't live very far away from you. I've been down the street, ride my bike there all through. It's awful. I know.
You know where it is.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly.
You should have been the other morning with the humidity and no wind.
I can only imagine.
It was god awful.
So let me also say that I'm so sorry that any of you have to live with that. It is terrible and really.
If it doesn't get taken care of, we're leaving. I mean, there's not.
Listen, we really are doing all.
But like I was told 10 years ago that they could give for citations, they could put liens on the house. Has any of that been
Well,
done?
I mean,
again, I understand getting rid of the
Hold on. All right, so first of all, I mean, I can't speak as of 10 years ago. Not a single one of us up on here were in the governing body 10 years ago. So I don't know what promises were made. I don't know what they were said, but as Mr. Shabir was saying, but as far as the cat problem, we have the ability to work hard at hand in hand with the county. As far as condemning homes or removing people from homes, that's not that easy. It is a big, you know, it's also.
She can't live there, she's not allowed to live there.
I understand that.
She lives at the neighbor's house.
Listen, I get it, and that's why we've had our code enforcement go over there, but if we don't follow a certain process by the law, we would open up ourselves to litigation that the town would then get sued.
I understand.
We have to follow, and unfortunately, things don't move as quickly as they should in this area, but I promise you, we are doing this as quickly as we are taking it seriously. I'm not gonna lie to you and say it's gonna be good next year. It may not be good next year. We're trying. But we are, and we do recognize that. And I understand your frustration. You're totally justified in your frustration, completely. And I totally sympathize and empathize with how you feel. But I do promise you, we are taking this very seriously. I was the one who contacted Chief Central last year about getting us involved in this program. We really didn't have anything involved at all. And we had a really serious foul practice, not only in your neighborhood, but several neighborhoods throughout the borough. So, you know, we are taking the strides we can to make this right for our neighbors. What you're dealing with is extreme, and so we're hoping the extreme nature of it is going to allow us to move quicker than it would probably be done in other areas. But again, it's not a snap of the finger, it just isn't. I'd be lying to you if I said that that's how it's gonna be done. But we do recognize it, and we are working towards it. We've actually had several conversations about this just this week alone, you know, on how we can try to make this better. And I know they were giving citations, and you know, it's, again, we have to also have full tangible proof. We have to get in there and see that, and then we have to go up to a higher level to get done. I know.
You want me to take a picture of the cat on my tree this morning, trying to kill the bird on my bird feeder?
Again,
that's proof.
But there's nothing illegal about a cat trying to eat a bird. Do you know what I mean? That's the problem. You know, a wild cat going after a wild bird, we don't have any res.
Well, let me ask you a question. Is it illegal to feed feral cats?
Depends on if they're a colony. Right now, I will tell you that and without getting to their investigation, they're going in there to remove whatever cats they can remove. They're planning on removing them all.
My question is it illegal to feed feral cats?
It depends on if they're a colony, if they're allowed to have a colony and they can protect the colony and lessen it with the TNR. But right now, she does not have that. So therefore, that's why they're removing the cats. I would, again.
If my neighbor feeds the feral cats, is it illegal, yes or no?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I actually don't think it is.
Well, is there any
because-
way to get a law on the books that says it is illegal to perhaps, prevent, township,
I think there is, we can.
people to stop feeding the cats? I mean, everybody knows you stop feeding the cats, they go away. Everybody knows that. You feed the cats, they stay. It's simple.
Mayor, council members, we're gonna look at all available options.
Yeah, we're gonna go after all the
But
development.
it sounds like there's a lot, it sounds like they
There's a
move pretty
lot.
quickly with regard to the.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not an attorney, but I do remember when the SPCA came to give a presentation, they actually wanted people, like Mr. Mayor mentioned before, being colony caregivers. So that's why we think it's not illegal to feed these cats. But if they're gonna feed these cats, then we usually need to be responsible for these cats. Now, there probably is laws against.
Responsible for the
Yeah,
cats.
Exactly, there's probably is laws against.
If they're
feeding cats and
responsible-
not being a responsible cat owner. That might be a better route.
I don't
to
know
look.
the answer to that.
I don't know the answer either, so that's something, it's a possibility that we can look into. Yeah.
And I don't, she is not definitely on it, we already checked that, so.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's something that
But I
we.
will tell you, so I will tell you this, so the first, again, we're at the fairness of this process. The first process is to get these cats out of there, okay? I will be speaking with law enforcement agencies, and not just animal control people, they're actual physical law enforcement officers who are involved in this, okay? They're both investigators for the county prosecutor's office through the Monmouth County SPCA. They're the ones handling it, not the regular animal control officer. So there is criminal charges that she could be charged with. They've already told her, and I know that they are going to take these cats out of it. So I will be speaking with them. The next step is to make sure she cleans the property, okay? If it takes me to figure out how much it would be us to clean it and put a lien on their house, right? That's what we'll have to do, okay? If
It doesn't make the problem go away.
It's a hoarding situation.
Yeah, but if we.
There's no
again,
water.
We can't do anything about a person inside their home. We only can do the stuff on the outside. So we can clean the outside, okay? It would just have to be done by a resolution on the council. We'll discuss that. We're gonna look at those avenues, okay? And then at that point, we have our attorney address it with a lien, and the town will be reimbursed with the property we sold. And that's how we would have to do it. But again, this is not, I understand it's not something I haven't seen before, so hopefully we are doing the right thing. I think we're most active that we've ever been on this. We've been there every single week. They were there last week, we're gonna be there this week. I promise you'll see us out there this week. Okay?
You keep on saying, being addressed, the process, this, that, and the the cats aren't going away.
But it's not gonna, you can't just trap a cat, like, they're just not gonna, you can't just trap if there's 30 cats, they're not all gonna go into a cage. You have to trap
I'm not
them.
saying every cat, but I haven't seen any ducking the cats.
They've taken several cats out of there already. They have
The
taken
Monmouth County
several-
SBA has
they took
trapped.
out 6 cat
It was a
cages just recently.
Yeah.
Out of there. They took 6 baby kittens out of that area.
I know they did.
So, and they've taken other cats out of there. I don't know the exact numbers on what we've taken out so far, but, if you call my office, I'll find out.
I have another question. If you say the people who feed the cats are responsible for the cats, does that responsibility include picking up their fecal matter?
Well, that's the whole thing. We have to find out what that actual responsibility, but she's not on that. She's not on college, she's not approved to be a colony, to handle a colony. That's been taken away from her. She's not allowed. She's not supposed to be doing anything. The only thing she's supposed to be doing is allowing them on the property to get the cats out of there and cleaning her property. That's all she's allowed to do right now.
And you said outside and also inside?
Inside, yeah, she has given permission for the SPCA to go in. Okay?
Inside?
Inside the residence. So,
The urine-infested residents,
they're gonna do it. They have no choice.
and
Somebody's
needs to
gotta
be
do it.
demolished.
It cannot,
Both
we have no.
Both
right-
houses.
Yeah, we can't demolish
I
the
live
house.
there too.
She knows.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like Mr. Shea said, we don't have the authority to just demolish a house.
Yeah, that's a lot more to that. That's a much larger thing.
Yeah, that's a big process, and you don't want your mayor and council to power to demolish it.
We need to go by steps here. The first step, as I said, is get the cats out. All right?
Good.
All right, so let's,
Cats out.
there's a lot, only one person at a time should be speaking, as I understand there's a lot of emotions here, right? And we do technically have a 4-minute limit usually speaking, but since we have multiple residents with these concerns, we've allowed it to go on. But, you know, we understand and we empathize with your frustration. I don't live far away. I really am around the corner. Unfortunately, don't smell it at my home, but the second I take I walk around the corner, take my air in the corner, it hits you in the face. I'm not down that. We agree. I've seen those homes. They are awful. They're just awful, and something needs to be done. But again, we have certain legal parameters that prevent us from doing certain things. And really, those parameters are terrible for people who are living in it, but they're there for a reason to protect people. Even though she's not being a good neighbor, she still has the same protection of the law as everybody else does.
Okay.
You know, so we're trying. We really, what we're just trying to get at here is that we are doing really. This is not trying to appease you so you don't come back. If you don't think we're doing it, come back and yell at me every meeting you want. All right?
I'm not gonna do that, but I can if you want me to.
Listen, I get yelled at.
And I
all
can
the
be
time.
real
Don't
pain and
use
you
it.
don't know what.
Yeah, but the point is, I do want you to know that we are taking it very seriously. We're doing.
All I ask you, Mayor and Council,
Yes.
expedite the process as quickly as you can. That's all I can ask.
We'll do everything we can on what we can, as fast as we can, and we can call and just bug you know what, out of the other people that we don't control, but that's all really we can,
It's at the county level now.
it is at county level.
I know, but, you know.
But now that our attorney heard some of it, I'm gonna meet with him on this. I do have some ideas. I've dealt with this again in the past, so, maybe something we can act on, especially when it comes to once we get the cats out of there, is to get that property cleaned up some way possible.
Okay, thank
We have to
you,
go
thank
in
you.
and put-
You're welcome. And again, I'm so sorry you had to be put up. I really am. I'm really sorry you had to.
Not sorry as I am.
I'm sure, but do know that we totally, understand and empathize your go through, and we are
We
going to
here for
do
you.
everything.
Trust us, we are. It's just, we're working on it. I have no doubt that we will. And, I have the information, so we're gonna move forward.
And for the record, I don't dislike cats. I used to have a cat. I like cats. I don't like cat feces.
No, neither do I, neither do I.
That's all. That's all big I can say.
Okay, so anybody else from the public wish to be heard? Yes, please, state your, address for the record, please.
Sure, Shayna Howell, 14 Boston Road. I have been in communication with you, Mayor, and of course, Mr. Ciardini, and I see Mr. Reynolds. I want to thank you for your time.
Sure.
And I want to thank Mr. Reynolds especially, and of course, Mr. Ciardini, because you did immediately respond to my concerns. I do have 2 questions, and I really do want to understand. Number 1, for ordinances within the borough, what is the responsibility for enforcing them? Because that was my initial concern, that there are multiple ordinances that are not enforced, and then they're meaningless. And I really appreciate everything that this town has done and is doing to ensure that it is a really healthy and safe community, but I am concerned that there are many ordinances that are simply not enforced unless a resident brings them to somebody's attention.
There's a lot of ordinances we have on our books here, where a lot of times are old, and a lot of people don't even realize they even exist.
Yes.
So I remember the ordinance that you said here, one of them was parking.
Yes. Yes.
So just kind of refresh me on what the issue is that you're dealing with.
Sure. There's I guess a mechanic shop that is on Boston
It's the
Road.
detailing shop there,
Yeah,
that's the Kelly's, yeah, okay.
It is, it's catty corner. It's not maintained. It is, multiple cars are parked on the public road. 2 cars were parked there for about 200 days. After Mr. Reynolds went, they were immediately removed. One is still on the south side of Boston that has been there for about 120 days, that has not been removed. I did see the Neptune City Police there recently, and they did have another removed. So this has all happened extremely expeditiously, but the area itself is unkempt. I won't comment on the comings and goings of the individuals, but I do have.
I don't mean to, I think I might be thinking the wrong, but this isn't the one that's on the Kelly's property, this one's on the
No,
other
sir.
side where the diving place was, is that?
Correct,
Okay.
yes.
It's called carport?
Yes, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking the wrong business.
Yeah.
Because it surprised me if Michael's Auto did that. I was like, they're pretty good at that.
Yeah, so I'm not even sure what their business does, actually. But they had a junkyard, which is absolutely against the ordinance. And again, they've recently removed some of those cars, not all of them.
Okay.
But I'm concerned because there's no buffer, and the the ordinance does require a buffer. I know Mr. Ciardini was going to check that if there was any type of grandfather clause, but I would still request that that be looked into. Additionally, and this was of concern to me, regarding abandoned cars, I know that you mentioned that they were registered. It was indicated that they could be, and that's not true as per the ordinance. So I do want to make sure that that is verified, even if it is in fact private, it cannot be for more than 30 days. The cars were there for, I mean, I told you that the two were over 200 and one is still there that is going on over 100 now. So I'm also concerned because of the ordinance on Boston that did not allow parking on Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays and holidays, which have been in effect for many years since 1982.
Right.
Was recently put up and then taken down. With no conversation, obviously I'm right on that. I understand that maybe my neighbors do not want that ordinance, which fully respect, but there should have been more of a discussion. Because as a resident, I do want that ordinance, and it actually did really help, because then nobody could leave cars for an extended period of time. I would offer, if it is a resident issue, I would love to work with my neighbors, and I would propose that what should then be the case is that it's resident parking only. I don't know if there's any possibility for an ordinance that would allow for that, but that would probably solve the competing needs of our neighbors that do want to park their cars and are allowed to park their cars, and the businesses that certainly should not. I will tell you too, and I know this cannot be controlled, but the employees park that entire, from Boston all the way sometimes till Sylvania. And it's intrusive, and they're incredibly disrespectful. There's garbage constantly. In fact, I have to give all credit to my other business neighbor, the Kellys. They will often come and clean up the garbage that was not their responsibility, and in fact was not by anybody that was frequenting Kelly's, but was garbage from the employees. So.
Talk about this, a lot of information.
This is a mouthful, I understand.
Yes, no, I'm glad you brought this. I
Yes.
know the one ordinance, the last one you talked about with the parking there, I remember that was actually put in place when Kelly's Tavern used to get
Exactly.
really big crowds
Yep.
on weekends and holidays.
Yep.
It was basically meant to not have people park their car there.
Yes.
I remember, I should
Yeah,
remember
and
that as a kid.
it was
when that was a big
incredibly
problem.
useful. I would agree, and Mr. Trevini and I spoke about this, that it is no longer necessary for Kelly's. The concern now, though, is that the carport leaves cars there for very extended periods of time.
Okay.
That probably in the past, up until this year, prevented that, because they couldn't leave them there overnight. So I don't know that the solution is this exact ordinance, although I am concerned that it was removed without any conversation, and there should have been some public participation, etc. But I don't know then if a potential solution is resident parking.
Okay, I mean, there's a lot of things that we can kind of look
Yes.
into here, so I can't really give you an answer right
No,
now.
and I
because-
don't
yeah, so-
expect you to,
But I
absolutely.
will be able to speak with, I'll speak with, I'll meet with our code enforcement, with our police and our administrator, and kind of put it together, and our attorney as well.
Yep.
To look through exactly what the legal standpoint is that we have here, what we can do as a
Sure.
borough to address each one of these issues. You're right, they should be.
Yeah.
No business really should put their cars on the road. Okay.
So I just want to touch on it, and I've been working with Ms. Howe on this.
Yep.
And I actually spoke to, the reason this police hopefully out there is actually after our code enforcement out to do what he could do, I actually was on the phone with the police chief immediately, and the police chief
Yep.
sent his officers, and I asked him
Thank you.
if there's any unregistered vehicles
Yep.
out there, loan them and tow them, and he did. That's
Yep.
exactly what he did. So that's, we moved pretty quickly on this. But we have to look, and I think we're still in the process, our code enforcement officer would send those, on looking into what was the original business plan for that business.
Right.
What was done in 1981, when the business was put there, and we need to see what was allowed and what was not. So we're waiting to get those records so we can dig into it, and then we can actually work from there. That's how we have to do it. I think, Mr. Reynolds, I'm not sure if we have some more stuff that they're supposed to be doing for you. You have to give them a violation.
Information together from the resolution.
Right.
And the application for the zoning.
Okay, and does he owe you anything else he's supposed to be doing right now with those trucks in the back and stuff?
Yep, yes.
So he gets a certain amount of time to get the stuff done, so he's been notified?
Yes.
At that point, if he doesn't do it, summonses can be issued.
Okay.
So we are working towards it. It was pretty fast how we got it done, thanks to police chief and our code enforcement. We're on it. Stay with me on it. and I'm gonna work with our attorney to come up with an idea of an ordinance that might work for that area. And maybe Kelly's ordinance isn't it, maybe it's another type of ordinance, not allowing a business to park cars that he's working on in the street. There probably is something we can do with that. I'm not sure what it's gonna be, but as I said before, I told you before, they can't leave, and I think the chief knew how many days was allowed, but technically, all he has to do is move 5 feet, and he starts over again on his where we had it. So, we have to come up with something more stronger. It's gonna happen, it's just a matter of us getting it together, we didn't know about it, I'm glad you came on and expressed it to the whole council, so they understand what's going on.
But you wanna make sure it's the right fix, too.
Right,
I wanna make sure it's the right fix.
Yeah, it's a problem probably for many years, and again, it's just kinda like the problem one summit, many years, we're working on it, and we'll be moving forward, so.
Yeah.
All
No,
right?
to be fair, this business was not an issue up until the last several years. They were amazing neighbors. I believe ownership has changed, and they are no longer
Yeah, so,
neighbors. Yeah.
it's something that we have, but the police chief is very aware of it, he's gonna have his guys, and all they have to do is go by and they can actually see if the license plates or not, you take them right there, and so he has the most power to do that. Our code enforcement really can't do anything in the street, so he can handle what's on the property, the police department will handle what's in the street, so.
Thank you.
Just so that she knows, his father owned the business prior, the son owns it now. The father was a lot easier to deal with. I'll tell you that.
I'm not commenting on that.
We'll leave it at that, but we're definitely working on it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else from the public here?
This is Mrs. Dunnick.
Okay, well, Ms. Dunning?
Third Avenue.
Sure.
Third Avenue neighbors. So, we have a question and a problem we want to talk about.
Okay.
Ask about. So, this is probably for our attorney, more likely. It has to do with, the master plan that, the last time you did the master plan, change. And we wanted to know if you have a property that was non-conforming, with, conditional uses, and it was one of the properties that was, converted to commercial use, a commercial status by master plan. What is that? How does that impact the, status of the conditional uses?
So if I can rephrase the question, the property was rezoned through master plan?
Yes.
They got a rezoning, and I'm not sure what property you're talking about.
It's okay.
Yeah, but if it's rezoned, he's saying if it's been rezoned through the master plan, and now can be used, either can be used as commercial property?
Well, I just want to know, how does a master plan change to,
So you changed the zone, so you're saying the master plan changed the zone of a particular property?
no,
Pre-existing.
20 properties, 25 properties in town.
But this property.
And this one was one of them.
Okay, and the master plan changed the area where it was.
Just the one property.
Passed a few years ago that changed the zoning of a lot of
Okay.
areas in Neptune.
Right.
And if it had.
That might be more than that in the master plan itself.
Okay, but the point is zoning was changed.
Because master plans don't change it, master plans
Yeah.
are just kind of like a.
It didn't change, didn't change the zone, it just took selective properties along corridors, and it turned them into various, statuses. In this particular case, it's commercial status.
And is that allowed or not allowed?
No, it was perfectly doable by the borough.
So I think what you're saying is like, if they're not in compliance, what is the legal
Well,
step?
I want to know, how does it impact the status of the property as a, non-conforming use property with conditional,
Understood. I
conditions
understand now.
put forth by the land.
So you're saying there was an approval before,
Right.
and it was changed, what does that matter?
Well, it's been done by virtue of a master plan
Sure.
with 25 other properties. It wasn't selected specifically, and it's surrounded by, it's a residential area.
Sure, understood. I understand the question. You know, generally speaking, and I have no idea what property we're talking about, or the specific facts or the approvals that were given or whatever, but generally speaking, Mr. Mayor, that could be qualified as a pre-existing non-conforming use, but I have to know certainly a lot more about the particular piece of property. I don't want you to think I'm giving you an opinion on whether I think what this particular property, what they're doing is okay versus not okay.
Right.
Based upon your question. That's like generally the concept. If something's approved by the land use board and the zoning changes, usually it's like a pre-existing non-conformity.
Right.
In terms of the use variances that they were given.
Right.
But these are the questions you always have.
Right.
Attorneys that is not answer, but I'm trying to answer the best I can
Yeah.
because I want to help you. But the, yeah, I have to take a closer look if you have a specific
So-
question about a particular property.
What I can ask.
Yeah.
What does it sound like to you? I'm sorry.
It's hard to say, but it sounds like, that's what they always tell you.
The best thing would be to reach out to me,
Yeah.
give me
Yeah.
a lot of facts on it that I can go and research, right? And I can get with the attorney, we can go back and forth, I can send him off what was there, and we can tell you exactly what happened. Okay?
Yeah.
Because again, without us knowing a specific piece, especially in a small town, that's
This
the way it
is
works.
what you're talking about?
They're out of order. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
All right.
the problem is, we've been,
Why don't you tell me, yeah, that's.
yeah, we've been working on this for about 11 months, and we can't get anywhere. We can't
Are
get
you the
anywhere.
property owner?
Excuse me?
Are you the owner of the property?
No,
you're
no,
talking
no.
about?
So we represent, all of our neighbors on Third Avenue,
Okay.
and, we're here to speak for them, and we haven't been able to have any success getting the answers that we need, in this problem. So, the land use boards, in 1960 and 1994, 2014, put conditions on the property of, 7 Third Avenue, which is at the corner of Memorial and, Third. And, it mandated that, there would be business operations, particularly for one business that's a tenant there. And it would be out of a garage on Memorial Drive. And so, that was happening, properly up until around, 2017, 2018. And then the tenant, business tenant, which was an auto parts company, was sold to another auto parts company. And it, for some reason, it just unilaterally, switched from the garage on Memorial to a doorway on, Third Avenue. And that's excluded under the conditions of the prior land use board. And what they did was they broke through a wall without any building permit on top of it.
Well, that's something that I can deal with on my end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
Now,
for it.
The problem is that we can't get answers, we haven't been successful getting answers from, code enforcement. We haven't been successful in getting answers from zoning, the zoning officer. After timely answers, let's say, and, you know.
Well, that's something like that.
I would say I highly recommend Chris.
Yeah, that would be me, then, at that
Yeah,
point. I will take action on that.
If they-
And I will use them with the
Well, that would be wonderful,
Yeah.
because we have worked with the borough administrator's office in the past.
Okay.
And this has been ongoing for 11 months, and, of course, COVID
Yeah.
slowed the process down.
Yeah, I just came in before COVID.
I appreciate that.
So I will tell you this, if you found, if you have time to come see me,
Okay.
right, maybe we can sit down, I can.
Well, I would be happy to, but I was afraid to do it, we were afraid to do it because of the reception we received in the last 2 go-arounds.
Oh, no, you're more welcome to come and see me.
Okay,
Please come see me, we'll sit down.
Okay.
I'll take a lot of copious notes.
Okay.
I will reach out to my legal counsel, and we will find a way to, because honestly, if somebody's violating the law under a code, then we can act on it. That's not a big deal.
Right, we'd like to have it, known that, the street is losing, there's an appearance of impropriety at this point, and we're losing confidence in the authorities of our borough.
Okay.
Over the period that this has been allowed to continue, and, we've seen compliance for 50 years until now, and, these auto parts cars from this company in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, are just speeding in and out, month after month after month. And the employees are parking on their avenue, they're not allowed, they're supposed to be in the parking lot or elsewhere. And, it's all in the conditions of the board, the land use board, so that's just a partial.
Just something for me to keep.
Yes.
So what we'll do is, I'll get the
Yeah.
information, and what we'll do is I'll pull the whole file, and we'll go from there.
Because, we don't have the borough's official position, whether it comes from the zoning officer or administrator.
So zoning is the one who will set like the parameters of what
we
business
had-
do.
yes,
Yeah,
we had that.
but we as the borough,
Right.
with Cobra, have the right to enforce anybody.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Well, given that there hasn't been enforcement on this issue, we felt that we were in limbo. And then they're now going to appeal on August, I believe, August the 11th. at the
So
land
what
use
I suggest then, as Mr. Beatty offered, we'll set up a meeting with Mr. Beatty, we're gonna lay it all on the table, exactly
Okay.
what it is, and we're gonna aggressively work
You
towards
just
it.
gotta give me a little time to investigate with you.
So-
need to get
I have
some
everything you
Is
need.
there a pending land use application?
There is. It's right in there.
Okay, I breezed through everything, but I didn't
I'm
read it.
sorry for that.
That's
Yeah.
important too, because
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
land use is gonna be.
But the problem with that is, there's nothing in there from the borough disallowing the illegal operation of the business out of a busted out wall on Third Avenue, as opposed to the garage on Memorial. That's the problem. So,
I wanna leave.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure you understand, we need to make, look
Right,
into the
right.
facts ourselves.
Yeah,
before
right.
making
So
any
what I'll do is
conclusions.
again, you come see me, I'll take copious notes, and I will then reach out to the attorney, we'll discuss it, I'll confer, and then we'll see what actions we can take, as soon as possible.
okay, that's wonderful, because we felt we couldn't be on a level playing field, which we were seeking up to 11 months ago, prior to any land use board appeal by the principals, whether it be the owner or the
Right.
business owner. So,
Let's see what we have, and
Okay.
then we'll go from there.
Very good.
So if you could just reach out to my
I
office
certainly
tomorrow,
will.
we'll set an appointment for this week, and we'll get going, okay?
It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else, Mr. Gardner? Jen?
Is that considered public record?
You mean what he just gave to me?
Yes.
Looks like there's a lot of public records in here, so
May I take photos of them?
why don't we take a look at it first to make sure there's nothing in there that's not public?
That's why I'm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and then
We
there
wanna
is.
make an
What we'll do is we'll make sure that we get it to, our clerk.
Yeah, is that part of the record of the,
But again, we have to have the clerk look at it, we have to
Yeah.
redact anything if there's personal information in there before it can be available to the public.
I'll give you a tip of my hat, it looks like there's a lot of stuff that is already a public record in here, but,
okay.
yeah.
Actually, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
That was requested under Old Borough.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this looks like it's been
Okay.
out there.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, I need a motion to adjourn. Offered by Ms. Pappas. Second by Mr. Kostas. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, okay, just thank you everybody for coming. I'm glad to actually see faces for once instead of on a computer screen. Thank you all very much for coming. Have a great night.